Okay, who wants to say the pranam mantra? Can one of you volunteer to say the pranam mantras, the prayers?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you, Asura. Very nice recitation. Okay, so before we move on to today's verse, I would like to ask who remembered the last week's shloka, the previous shloka. Who would like to recite that?
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kamela Ganesha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahashino Papa Vidyeramyavayam.
Thank you, Vrinda. Beautiful. Okay. Anybody else? Last week's shloka.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kamayesha Krodesha Jagunasya Mudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenamiha Vairanam.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Asura. Anyone else? Okay, so let's move on to today's shloka. A very interesting, important, and instructing verse for us. So let's learn the shloka first. Please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanahamavyayam Vivasvan manave praha Manurikshvakave bravit Shri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanahamavayam Vivasvan manave praha Manurikshvakave bravit. Okay, so let's move on to the translation. Can one of you read the translation? Who wants to read the translation? Okay, Asala, do you want to go ahead and read the translation?
Okay, Master. The blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivashvan, and Vivashvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishvakshu.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is a very important shloka because it's very important for us to understand where this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita comes from. It's not just that Krishna spoke this on the battlefield to Arjuna. It was also spoken in Treta Yuga. In this verse where it is explained how Krishna spoke this to Vivaswan, that is the sun god, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu. We are going to see what is Manu shortly. Manu is the father of mankind, and Manu in turn is instructed it to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku is a great king who is the predecessor in the line of Lord Ram. Okay, so Ikshvaku comes much higher in the hierarchy, and then comes Dasharatha, and then comes Ram. So this is how the science of yoga, that is Bhagavad Gita, was given. This is one place where Krishna says where he spoke Bhagavad Gita. And another thing that we know, we are already reading from the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna spoke this to Arjuna in the battlefield. So this happened in the Treta Yuga, that Krishna explained it to Vivaswan. And Krishna explaining this to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra happened in which yuga? Dwapara Yuga, right. So time and again Krishna comes to explain all this knowledge. Let's see first why we need this science of yoga or Bhagavad Gita. How important it is for us in our human form of life. So the human life, it is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. It is of course important for us to maintain the body, but it is also important for us to take care of our souls. We are solely responsible for taking care of our souls. So we have to cultivate spiritual knowledge, and we have to reconnect back to Krishna. So when we say science of yoga, what does yoga mean? Yoga means connecting to the Supreme. So we have to reconnect back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in an eternal relationship. It's not just that we are going to go and merge into Krishna. We are going to reconnect back to the Supreme Personality in an eternal relationship. So this is our aim. This should be our aim of human life. Because in animal life, we do 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. If we do the same thing in human form of life, then there is literally no difference between animals and humans. So if we have to give a meaning to our existence, if we really have to utilize our intelligence, then we have to reconnect back to the Supreme through the science of yoga. And also, in those days, the kings, they were supposed to be very intelligent. So an ideal king, he was supposed to get this knowledge from senior brahmanas, or sometimes they have family priests. So the family priest will always give spiritual knowledge to the king. And a king is supposed to impart this knowledge to the citizens. And they do it by giving education, culture, and devotion. So in those days, naturally the whole kingdom was Krishna conscious, because the king, if he is very powerful, then he would be able to impart it to the others. That is why Krishna, even in this verse, he chose Vivaswan, the sun god, who is also very powerful. And then sun god passed it to Manu, who is the father of mankind, and Manu passed it to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku was a very powerful king. So if you impart this knowledge to the king, it is as good as delivering the citizens, because the king, who is very powerful and who has a lot of influence over his citizens, if he becomes spiritual, then the citizens automatically follow him. So that is why in those days an ideal king was obliged to impart this knowledge to others. And once he imparts this knowledge to the others, then the people pursue a successful path of spiritual realization, and they utilize the opportunity of human form of life fully. So they become successful in life because of the king. That is why a king, he was supposed to be a representative of God. King does not just mean that you rule over other people in material level. It also means that you take responsibility for the citizens and you are considered as a representative of God, and the citizens, they will follow the king. That is why kings are very important in influencing people in spiritual life. And the examples of such successful king we have seen in so many stories in our Puranas and through Mahabharata, Ramayana. We have examples like Maharaja Rama, Maharaja Prithu. In Bhagavatam we have the story of Maharaj Prithu and also Maharaj Parikshit. And of course we know the story of Maharaja Yudhishthira, who was a very ideal king. That's why they fought the war and Krishna helped Maharaja Yudhishthira to get back the kingdom. But if you see in the contrary, in present day education, they propagate that the ultimate success of life is sense gratification. So if you are able to have the highest level of sense gratification, then you are a success in life. So everything you take in this material world, it is directed towards sense gratification. And the government themselves, they are propagating that sense gratification is the highest success of life. So it is very difficult for us to expect that the executive heads of the state will be able to impart this knowledge to us. So because we are getting this knowledge through a bona fide source, and we are able to understand that our ultimate aim is not just to enjoy in this material world, but we have to go back to our eternal home of spiritual kingdom. Because we understand this, we have to develop this knowledge more and more. We have to get to know more, and there is an urgent need for us to help spread it to as many people as possible, because the government is not doing that job nowadays. If we can take the responsibility and deliver it to other people as much as possible, we may not be able to influence a whole lot of people like how the king can do, but whatever we can, if we can do, that will be really pleasing to Krishna. And whatever we speak, we should also back it up by the evidence from scriptures. So we cannot just speak what we think as what comes in our mind as the reality. We have to really back it up with evidence, because we know that our minds are faulty. We have so many defects like imperfect senses, and we have a tendency to be illusioned and tendency to make mistakes. So we cannot really come to a conclusion about spiritual life with our own effort. We should be referring back to the scriptures, and we have to depend on the authority of the scriptures to develop our knowledge and also to tell it to others. That's when it will be more effective, and that is when people will also be able to appreciate it. So we have to equip ourselves with this knowledge. That's very important. That's why we are reading this Bhagavad Gita and all the instructions that are given in the Bhagavad Gita. It is actually a manual for humans. Just like how when you get a washing machine or when you get any device, you have a manual attached instructing how you have to use that. So as and when Brahma created human beings, he sent us this manual through, Krishna has sent us this manual to understand how we have to live our lives in this material world and get back to the spiritual world. So let's see how, what are the different origin of Bhagavad Gita. That is the source of Bhagavad Gita at different times. In the Mahabharata Shanti Parva, we can trace out the history of Gita as follows. Treta yugadau cha tato vivasvan manave dadau manushya loka vrityartam sutaekshvake vedadau ikshvakuna cha katito vyapna lokanavastitaha. That is, in the beginning of Treta Yuga, millennium, this science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivasvan to Manu. And Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaja Ikshvaku, the king of the earth planet and forefather of the Raghu dynasty in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in the human society from the time of Maharaja Ikshvaku. It's not that suddenly Arjuna got confused in the battlefield and Krishna invented this knowledge and he gave it to him on the spot. No. This knowledge has been always existing, and Krishna just reiterated it to Arjuna in Dwapara Yuga. So we understand that this has been existing from the time of Maharaja Ikshvaku, who was in Treta Yuga. So the Gita, nowadays what happens is, a lot of people, they interpret the meaning of Gita to their own comfort or whatever they think is right, and they give it to people saying that that is what is the knowledge that was received from Krishna. But they have really interpreted and changed a lot of things in the Bhagavad Gita. It is not as it was received from Krishna. We should understand that because the Bhagavad Gita has been existing in the human society from Treta Yuga, and in different times Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita and he has given us this knowledge through different sources, because people have been always trying to adulterate the information, and so many times the disciplic succession has been broken. That's what we will see in the next verse. Because all these things are happening, Krishna had to always come and give the knowledge through us through different sources. And we will also see in Kali Yuga how we receive this knowledge. But before that, we have to understand that the Gita is not, therefore, a speculative treatise for this insignificant mundane scholar, but it is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. That is, even in the modern days, they use Bhagavad Gita for management studies. They use different parts of Bhagavad Gita to quote, they select some portions of Bhagavad Gita to explain things according to their comfort, which is not really in line with what Krishna is teaching us. So it cannot be adulterated, or it cannot be changed, because Bhagavad Gita is an authorized scripture existing in the human society for a long time. So that is why we have to understand that there may be, in India, if you see, there are lots of editions of Bhagavad Gita, of which, this is one authorized Bhagavad Gita that we know, Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we will understand how it is as it is from Krishna. And in this shloka, we are talking about Manu, and we are talking about Ikshvaku, we were talking about Vivaswan. So let's see a little bit in detail about these people. Vivaswan is the sun god, and sun god is sun planet. It is supposed to be very powerful. It is the head of all other planets. In Brahma Samhita it says that sun god is the head of all other planets. Yatchakshure Savita Sakala Grahanam. So it is the head of all planets, because it gives a lot of heat and light to all other planets, and it really gives power to other planets. That is why the sun is supposed to be the head of all other planets. And that because he is so powerful, Krishna gave this instruction to Vivaswan. And Vivaswan gave it to Manu. Manu is referred to here as the father of mankind. Now what happens is, when Brahma's day begins, that time he creates a Manu. And during that lifetime, the lifetime or the duration of one Manu, it is called as one Manvantara. And there are 14 such Manus. So after one Manu dies, Brahma creates another Manu. And after that Manu's period is over, another Manu. Like that, 14 Manvantaras are there. Manvantara is the duration of one Manu. So 14 such Manvantaras happen in one day of Brahma. And one day of Brahma is also called as one Kalpa. And one Kalpa, it consists of 1,000 cycles of the 4 yugas or Chatur yugas. And you know what the 4 yugas are, right? Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So 1,000 such cycles of each yuga makes one day of Brahma. So that is why we need to understand what each Manu is. And there are 14 Manus, and some of them are Swayambhuva Manu, Swarochisha Manu, then Raivata Manu, Uttama Manu. Like that it goes on, and there is also Vaivasvata Manu. And currently, the period in which we are living now, it comes under Vaivasvata Manu. That is Vivaswan family. Okay, so let's move on to understand how in Kali Yuga this knowledge is given to us. In the Padma Purana, there is a very famous verse which states, Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishphala mataha atak kalau bhavishyanti चत्वारः सम्प्रदायिनः श्रीब्रह्मा रुद्रसनका वैष्णवक्षितिपावनाः चत्वारस्ते कलौ भाव्य ह्युत्कले पुरुषोत्तमात् रामानुजं श्रीचक्रे मध्वाचार्यं चतुर्मुखः श्रीविष्णुस्वामिनां रुद्रो निम्बादित्यां चतुस्सनाः. So what this means is, all the mantras which have been given to disciples not in an authorized sampradaya are fruitless. Nishphala mataha, it is fruitless. So whatever knowledge, whatever the other Bhagavad Gita which is not coming in an authorized parampara, whatever those Bhagavad Gita say, it's not going to help us in any way. It is fruitless. So it has to come from an authorized sampradaya or authorized parampara or disciplic succession. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, there will be 4 bona fide sampradayas. So this is stated in the Padma Purana that in Kali Yuga, there will be 4 bona fide sampradayas. And we'll see one by one. One of them was inaugurated by Sri Devi and known as the Sri Sampradaya. And one by Lord Brahma and known as the Brahma Sampradaya. One by Lord Rudra and known as the Rudra Sampradaya. One by the 4 Kumaras and known as the Sanakadi Sampradaya. And the Sri Devi, she made Ramanujacharya the head of that lineage. And Lord Brahma appointed Madhvacharya. Lord Rudra appointed Vishnu Swami, and the 4 Kumaras, they chose Nimbarkacharya. So you have on the side, I have given the Sampradaya and Acharyas listed there. It's very important for us to remember these, because people always question, how do you say that your Sampradaya is authorized? How does Prabhupada claim that Bhagavad Gita that he has written is Bhagavad Gita as it is? How do you know? So we have to understand where we are connected to the authorized Sampradaya. Okay? And we are coming in the line of Brahma Sampradaya. We're going to see how we are connected to Brahma Sampradaya. Because in Brahma Sampradaya, the Acharya is Madhva Acharya. So if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, after the introduction in Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, we have this list which states the disciplic succession in which our parampara is coming from. And if you see in the second place, Krishna instructed this to Brahma. So Brahma is where it starts from. And if you see in the 5th place, it is Madhva, right? So the Madhva is a very great Acharya, Madhvacharya. Like Ramanujacharya was for Sri Sampradaya. And for Brahma Sampradaya, Madhvacharya is one of the important Acharyas. And there are other Acharyas also coming in that line. And if you see in the 22nd place, there is Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, he actually took all the instructions from Ishvara Puri and going back to Madhva. That is why our Sampradaya is called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Okay, remember this point, how it is called like that. So Brahma, Madhva and Lord Chaitanya. Because of Lord Chaitanya, we also call it as Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya because it comes from Bengal, that side. So that is why we have to understand how we are connected to Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavad Gita that Srila Prabhupada. If you see in the last place, there is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. That is where we are connected now to Srila Prabhupada, and it goes back to Brahma and to Krishna. So we have to understand how Bhagavad Gita, it comes in the disciplic succession, and we can always verify with this that we are coming from an authorized sampradaya. Okay, and before we conclude, I would like to say the story of a grandfather who read Bhagavad Gita every day. This is very much in connection to our topic because we have stated that we have to always quote from the scriptures whenever we speak. And if we have to quote from the scriptures, any evidence of which we are speaking, we have to be thorough with that knowledge. And how we can be good at speaking something? By reading it over and over again. And we have to start from basic books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And Bhagavad Gita especially is very, very important. And every time, it's not just enough if you read it once, you have to keep on reading it, because every time you read the Bhagavad Gita, you realize a new meaning out of it. So it's very important for us to read Bhagavad Gita every day. So let's move on to the story. Once there lived an old farmer on a farm in the mountains with his grandson. And this grandson was a very great fan of his grandfather. He used to try to do whatever the grandfather does. So every day he noticed that the grandfather was reading Bhagavad Gita in the morning. And he wanted to follow his grandfather, so he also read the Bhagavad Gita. But he complained to his grandfather that, Grandpa, you're reading Bhagavad Gita every day, and I also want to read it, but I'm not able to understand many portions. And even if I understand something out of it, I forget it after I close the book. So what is the use of reading Bhagavad Gita, Grandpa? He asked his grandfather. So the grandfather, he gave him a coal basket, which was there near him because he was cooking something. And then he said, please go and bring water in it from the river. So he had to climb down the mountain and get the water from the river and get it back to his grandfather. So by the time he went to the river and by the time he was climbing up, all the water drained because that basket had a lot of holes. And that's when he realized that the basket had holes. So all the water drained out by the time he reached up. And the grandfather, he told the grandson, it's okay, but try to move a little more faster next time so that the water won't drain out. But again, what happened is the water drained out completely before he returned back home. And like this, many times, the boy went to the river, got the water, and by the time he reached up, the water would drain out. So he got frustrated after a few attempts. And then he said, it's okay, Grandpa, forget it, I'll just bring it in the bucket. But the grandpa said, no, I don't want it in the bucket. I want water only from the basket. So he had to go again, and he was getting frustrated this time. He said, there's no use, Grandpa, it's not going to stay. However fast I run, it's going to drain out completely. Then the grandfather asked the boy to look at the basket, and he said, look at the basket. Do you see anything? Any difference? And then the boy realized that the basket, it was transformed from an old coal basket into a clean basket inside and out, because the water had washed the basket so many times. So although his aim was to get the water, but he did not realize that this change had happened in the basket. So the grandfather told the grandson, similarly, when you read Bhagavad Gita, you might not understand or remember everything, but when you read it over and over again, you will be transformed inside and out. That is the work of Krishna in our lives. So it's very important for us to read Bhagavad Gita and understand that even if we read once, you can still go back and read the shloka again, you will get a different meaning out of it. So with this message that we have to really equip ourselves with knowledge and keep on reading again and again, I would like to conclude. If you have any questions at this point, you can ask. Or else, whoever wants to recite the shloka, today's shloka or last week's shloka, you can go ahead and recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I do this week's shloka?
Yes, go ahead.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivashvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivashvan Manave Praha Manurik Ekshvaka Vibravit.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Ashutosh.
Yes, Ashutosh, go ahead and say the verse.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivashvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivashvan Manave Praha Manurik Ekshvaka Vibravit.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Very nice. Anyone else? Okay. If there is no one else who wants to recite, let's conclude here with Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha. नमो नमः
Srila Prabhupada
Mataji ki jai. Anjana Gopika Mataji ki jai.